Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind on this Easter Sunday. I'm Paul John Dykes. I'm joined by Sean Connolly. And at half-time there, Sean, that's a sensational first-half performance once again by Celtic. 4-0 up. I mean, I was struggling to set my stream up there because every couple of minutes there was another goal near the end of that first half. We have really dominated and put them to the sword.
Yeah, man, I called it 2 weeks ago, and here we are. To be honest, though, it was actually quite. The first 25 minutes were actually really frustrating. We had like one speculative shot that the keeper chucked his hat on. We weren't. There was nothing really in terms of urgency, and then when we do just step it up a level. St Johnstone lose their concentration a bit. Calmac just picks things up, takes the game by the scruff of the neck. He's crucial in the first two goals. Was it 35th minute, 37th? McGregor's involved in those two, and thereafter we were just pressed the boot down on the neck, and we've absolutely destroyed them. They've shown nothing, and you know what? They get what they deserve, and we've been clinical today. That fourth goal was kind of emblematic of the clinical nature. When you get your confidence, when you get your flow, that's not the sort of shot you take when it's 0-0, right? You don't see that kind of gap through the legs. That's a low percentage chance on your weak foot. You don't think about that one, but when you're 3-0 up already, that's when you go, I can see this. I'm just gonna have a ping here, and Maeda scores it. So that's the sort of thing. Once you get 1 up, 2 up, that's what you can do. And then I'm enjoying it. I really enjoyed those 10 minutes. I wish we'd done it earlier. I wish we'd had that urgency earlier. I get that St Johnstone are here to play, but it's not like St Johnstone are picking up yellow cards. It's not like they're doing anything desperate. I'm so conflicted because I was really bored in the first half hour. I was not enjoying it. And then that last 15 minutes was amazing. I loved it. It was so enjoyable. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you take out of it, Paul? I don't know.
Well, we're going to welcome the man from Budapest into proceedings, Kevin McCluskey. You're in. It's one of the ones, Sean, where I just felt in the first half we were dominant, but we dominate a lot of games without the end product. And then we sparked into life. We started finding a bit of space. Rio Hatate, he's having one of their games. We talk about the Rio. Is it Rio or Hatate? Depending on his performance. Well, I think it's Rio today. I think he's got, 3 assists already. I want to start off, though, with Adamida. And I'm going to start off with Adamida because as well as him getting the goal, and he never done the Paul Merson celebration, by the way. He just went away and gave the Celtic fans the heads up. Kevin, what I noticed during the game is how deep he was coming to try and link play up. He was getting the ball from the midfield and he was trying to play it out wide. And I was looking at him thinking, I don't think I've seen him running as much so far. Something to prove, perhaps, Kevin, and he gets the goal as well.
Yeah, very possibly so. I was very much paying attention to you there, but I was also watching his goal back because I'll tell you something. I nipped to the toilet 5 minutes before half time and I missed his goal. So I thought I'll get ready for coming on the stream and I've missed the last his goal. So I've just watched it back. It's a very good goal. But I was making a point as well of watching Ida throughout that whole first half because of how he played last week. And I'd given him a bit of stick, I think, about his performance last week. I didn't think he was holding the ball up well enough, and I didn't think he was contributing all that well to the performance. So I made a little point to watch him, and I thought he's been quite impressive in that first half. There's a moment I've got, I don't know, maybe it comes about 20-25 minutes into the half, where I've noticed what you've mentioned, he's coming deep an awful lot. He's trying to put in his Maestro 95 continues.
He looks so much brilliant. Better, it? Yep.
It was so good, but I was still feeling really sorry for him because I'm thinking it is work rate with him. He's having to put in all that work. We're not playing to his strengths and we're not really benefiting from what he can give us. I know he's having to put in all that effort and there wasn't much end product coming from it. And he's done his thing where he's made the wrong choice once or twice and those things stick in the mind a little bit more. But then, don't know, something seemed to happen. He gets a little bit more involved again. He's got that great little wall pass with Callum for Maeda's first goal, I think it is, where he lays it back and Callum sends Maeda in behind. And he's really contributed a lot today. So his work rate has been there. His effort and application, which I don't think we've ever really doubted, has been there. And when he's got players moving off him well enough, it all seems to click for him. And I'm delighted for him that he's got his goal. He's deserved that with his performance. And this is more the level that we expect from Adam Ida. So again, the onus is on him. He's done it for 45 minutes. Let's go out and do it for another 45, get a complete performance from him, and really answer those critics, including folk like myself, that he deserves to be at this level.
I was looking, like even before the game, listening to some of the punditry on show, Sean, about Adam Ida. We were talking, Kev, prior to the show going live, the pre-match, about all the flack that Engels has been getting all season, really. And to be fair, the biggest percentage of it that I've seen or heard has come from pundits outside of Celtic. And I look at him and think, and the example I gave was, had he broke through as a young guy coming through as a 20-year-old from the Celtic Academy, would have been raving about him, right? So there's a narrative because of the big transfer fee. And the same thing's happened about Ida. I heard pundits during the week still banging on about this transfer fee. Listen, we had to pay that money to bring him into the football club, and that's the money we paid. And when you look at his goals and assists per minute this season compared to last, it's not a massive difference, Sean. It's not a huge difference. It's just I feel that last season it came at a point of the season where he was scoring big goals and there was big moments, big memorable moments, if you like. Whereas this season, it's been obviously elongated across the piece. He's been in and out of the side. He never quite grabbed the jersey when Kyogo left. A big part of that was down to Maeda's performances. So I get it. I'm not saying it's been flawless. It's been far from flawless. It's not been a great vintage campaign. But I think between now and the end of the season, he still has these opportunities, doesn't he, to have the big moments. And today, I wouldn't say it was a big moment as such, maybe a big moment on a personal level because of everything that's happened this week. But I think beyond the goal, in terms of a performance, he's been brilliant in the first half.
Yeah, look, when you're judging players, right, you look at the good they do, the bad they do, you weigh it up over a longer term. You decide how good they are based on that. The more misplaced passes they do, the more you weigh them on the negative, the more goals they score from chances that land at them, the more you weigh on the positive, right? And most of the players at Celtic are much more weighted on the positive side of things. Like Adam Ida is much more likely to get a 1-2. He's much more likely to score a goal when it falls at him. And where we get frustrated as fans is when we don't see them putting effort in. So like, yeah, we can see they all have ability, but when you watch a game and you see Adam Ida strolling in the middle, not try to get on the end of a through ball, or say whatever winger cuts into the box and Adam Ida's on the D at the edge, then that's when you get frustrated. But when you see like the third goal today, where we do get that great through ball from Scales, and we talked about that pre-match, the difference between Scales and Trusty, right? Trusty doesn't do that. Yep. So that's a through ball from Scales, and Hatate gets on the end of it. And if Ida is not putting the effort in, then the through ball from Scales is wasted and the effort from Hatate is wasted. But Ida has also put the effort in there. So he's got an end of it. So it's the 3-man effort there. It's a whole team effort because, you're pulling players all over. But and there's been times this season where Ida's had his head down. He's not put that effort in. That's why we say, like, we look at the big games he's had, like the 2 against Villa. He put the effort in that day. And he's not been consistent with that effort. But today it was there for that goal. And that's what we want to see. When he's coming out, you're talking about Kev, he's coming out and linking and being involved in play outside the box. That's effort, right? I don't think he's been coached to stand in the box and just wait for the ball. I don't think any Celtic striker's ever been coached to do that. So we know it's in there. We know he's got the ability. We've seen it. And we just need to be the effort. And that goal today is evidence that he's putting the effort in today, and he's getting reward for that effort and for the ability that we know he has.
Yeah, and by the way, some really great comments. I'm going to try and bring as many of them up before the second half as possible. We're 1,100 plus strong on the live stream. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. John Cook, how on earth, I'll change that for the family viewers. John, did they beat us 2 weeks ago? Fantastic display. I seen something during the week. I'd never seen it, and I'm not sure who coined the phrase, but and I'm not calling St Johnstone idiots, but an idiot that prepares can beat a genius who doesn't. And it's one of the ones where if they play a particular game plan and we're not really as clinical as we can be, then we can get beat. But today's been completely different. And some of these comments coming through, Hatate could fly a kite with those feet, says Ryan Geddes. By the way, I would watch it. I'd pay to watch it. And I'm going to bring some of these up because I think absolutely, Barry, enjoy it and think about the 6 and think about the 7, because that's the kind of performance that we've just shown in the first half. But see, the other week there, when I watched the Kilmarnock game back, Kevin, and I was thinking of some games that were kind of similar in the respect of us scoring a barrel load of goals in the first period and then it drying up in the second. And I thought to myself, that must be one of the hardest things for a manager and a team, right? And the game last season that came to my mind was the game that young Daniel Kelly scored. Remember, Cal McGregor went off at half-time. We were 6-0 up against Dundee at home. And we were sitting watching that game going, wait a minute, we actually might win 10-0 here. This is unbelievable. And we go out in the second half and it's 7-1. And there's been so many examples of that. There was one under Ange Postecoglou where we battered Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. We were 4-0 up and Kyogo misses a penalty in the first half. Remember that? And, I think the game finished 4-1. So it must be one of the hardest things in management, Kev, to actually get that same performance in the second half as you can in the first, because there's so many different moving factors and elements beyond your control. The other team are going to play differently in the second half. That's one of the big things. They might come out far more defensively. Another game springing to mind, McInnes running up the tunnel at Pittodrie. I think we were 4-0 up at half-time against Aberdeen. And I think we won the game 4-0. It was maybe 4-1 at the end. And it happens so often, Kev. There's a few games recently in England where I've seen it as well. It's a difficult one to manage at half-time.
It must be. It must be the best/worst dressing room you can have, I suppose.
It's a nice dilemma. It's a nice dilemma, yeah.
That's it. You've gone in and the game's over by half-time. You've got the game won. So from the player's perspective and even from the manager's to a degree, it's why go out and expend the same amount of energy and risk injury or something like that in the second half when you've got the game sewn up. We, as the fans, want to see that because we want to see goals, and that's all we're interested in, really. But I guess the manager's got to be a bit more professional about it, look after the players properly, and it's the game management thing that comes in, which is, it can be great at certain moments, if you're up against a big team and you manage yourself through it in stages. But when you're 4-0 up at half-time, your game management then is, well, let's just go and knock the ball around and see out this next 45 minutes. So it is tough. And I can imagine as well that from Brendan's perspective, as much as that's what he'll want, is for us just to go out and see the second half through, I reckon he's a man that's got those standards, and there's a level we can drop to in the second half. But if we drop below it, he'll let the players know. And I like to hope that he is a fan in the dugout and he'll want us to get another couple at least. We'll come home with a 6-0 win. That would be pleasing. Everyone would be happy then. We've lowered the intensity levels. We've kept the players injury free. We've got Jota on, we've got Kuhn on, we've got minutes in those guys' legs, and we've gone and put in a right performance that sends everybody home on a bank holiday weekend in the best of spirits. That's ideal, eh?
So this is a big thing.
Sorry, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've got this down as Maeda has scored 13 cup goals this season in 6.5 games. Someone can correct me if that's wrong. But I've got him down as that's his 13th goal in the cup this season across 6.5 games.
That's amazing. We've not even mentioned Maeda. I mean, am I right in saying that's 33 goals for the season? We were talking the other week. Remember, Sean, we were talking about 40. Can he get 40? And and then I had a look at the goals that were disallowed, because there's been a few controversial ones, of course, the Hibs one at Easter Road. I think he's had 3 goals disallowed this season, and he's not taken any of the 10 penalties that we've been awarded. And he's on 33 goals. And he's now playing left wing again, and he scores a couple of goals. He's an anomaly. He really is, Sean. He's unbelievable. If you told me that from the Japanese contingent that we brought in, half of whom I think have been successes for us, that he was going to be the star man, I wouldn't have believed you. I had him ranked behind Kyogo. I had him ranked behind Hatate until this season. And then he's come out and he's having a vintage campaign. He's unstoppable, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't know where, you're right. He's just raised that level. And I think in 2024, I think he was our top scorer in the calendar year. So maybe we shouldn't have been so surprised. But yeah, he's always had someone kind of taking the headlines, right? Kyogo, Kun, whoever, and now it's his turn. It's his headlines, and he's absolutely going to get all the awards, and he deserves them all.
I want him to get a hat trick. Let's go out and score another few goals in the second half. A manager's dream dilemma to have. You're only 4-0 up at half time. How do you replicate it in the second? Go and enjoy the second half action, and we'll join you at full time on a Celtic State of Mind.
Yeah, well,